Hi, my name is Stephanie Ramos, and today I will be presenting my end of semester journal and overall my experience in the class of RWS 1302. I will begin by saying that my topic is a bit sensitive only because I feel like women should be more educated on their bodies and maybe in hopes to change some opinions. I will continue by talking about my engagement proposal and assignment, in where I talk about more in depth of why I chose the topic that I did, which is women's reproductive rights. As I mentioned before, I believe that women should be more educated on their bodies, and people should be more open on this topic. Since it is so controversial, people should be more educated on contraceptives, on how the reproductive system works, on the political issues that come along with it, and the pros and cons of it, such as like being pro-life and being pro-choice. Many people unfortunately don't understand these topics. Overall, don't understand the Roe versus Wade topic. I was really touched by this because as of June of 2022, Roe versus Wade was overturned, meaning that women no longer had the right to an abortion, which was a very big thing that affected more than half of the population of the entire United States, which was the women's population. I myself felt affected in a way because I am a woman. I am a woman who is in constant fear of being in this country at the moment because of all these political issues having to do with women's bodies and such. Although there's not much to go in depth for biases, although I will go more in depth of what pro-choice and what is pro-life. So pro-choice is to be you are more of for the free will of doing what you like with your body, and of course for abortions and such. And then pro-life is more being for believing in a fetus having a life. And yeah, the next assignment I will be talking about is the genre analysis, in which required me to do a bit more research. I did end up doing the genres of a podcast and a documentary, in which the documentary did touch me a bit more emotionally. I did feel like that one did show more of the reality of what it is to go through an abortion and what the clinics have to go through, which is like protesters outside, threats, and not only the clinics but also the patients attending. Also many what was it, a situation they had where this female wasn't able to get an abortion because she was underage and did not have the permission of their parents, is something that is just very difficult. I could imagine very difficult, because you would have to deal with the government and also the clinic not accepting you, also your parents, you not wanting your parents to find out, and fear of either getting kicked out of the house and maybe living in the streets or such. And it's things that are very real and we don't take into consideration for other people. The other one was the podcast. The podcast did talk more, was more informational, which did help me a lot. That one did open up my mind a bit more when it came to the topic, especially because in the podcast there were two lawyers speaking on the topic, um, and they were really going into depth with it, with the facts and the biases. There were a lot of biases in the podcast, in which talking about how um, each state and what they had to go through, the types of laws they have and regulations they have to deal with and such. And unfortunately, it is a very real thing that us women have to deal with. And yeah. Next assignment I will be talking about is the locals fieldwork, which was one of my actual favorites, only because it involved engaging with others. I myself am not very talkative or not very outgoing per se. I did enjoy this one only because I did get the opinions of other people, which gave me more ideas of how I could help in a way to change these opinions to further help the women in need, who are maybe struggling and such. The local fieldwork also involved me interviewing an individual, and it also gave me a more open, or I felt more open-minded to that interview, only because it was a one-on-one and it was a very trustworthy person, and a person who had to deal with so much with like how they felt affected by what was going on with the recent overturning of Roe versus Wade, and how they felt affected by that. And yeah, I felt like it was very fun to go around and ask for opinions, and um also researching what other people have gathered, like other opinions that other people have gathered from their surveys, and not only locally but also nationally, which is very interesting. Next up is the broader fieldwork. This one wasn't as interesting as I thought it would be, although because I did require a bit research. It was research, or me using not really using other people's work, but in a way annotating other people's work according to my topic. That was I liked, because it had to do with my topic and was the only thing that actually kept me like focused on the assignment. Last but not least, the last assignment was the PSA, which was actually another one of my favorites, only because I did get a bit more comfortable with like the recordings and such, and overall the experience of being able to like be part of a public service announcement or make my own public service announcement was very like impacting, because my opinion might change the opinions of others in a way. My point of view might change also the opinions of others, and overall was very impacting to do such thing, and also not only that, put it out in public, which is not something I'm like super like familiar with or being comfortable with. Along with the editing was a bit hard, because I'm not really the type to like be very educated on the editing and such. But overall, it was very fun to be part of doing such thing that might impact others. And yeah. As for the volunteership, I did end up volunteering at the food bank. However, I wish I was able to volunteer with helping the women's community or even with the Frontera folks. However, did sign up for that twice and did end up contacting them, but didn't ever get a response back. But however, I do feel like I did very much by taking the time to engage with those people who are in need, not only the elders, but also the women who are currently struggling with having a child by force with the current regulations. I saw the way that people were struggling, and even as little as having a conversation with them did change my whole entire point of view of just by looking at someone and not knowing their backstory. And it just opened my eyes a lot more to situations like that, how they're maybe struggling at not speaking about it, keeping it to themselves, or living in poverty. And I should feel more grateful. I should be more grateful for what I have now. Um, because yeah, like it is just something that we don't think about in our everyday lives. However, as for the class overall, I did gain very much experience. And not only that, I did learn more about myself. I did learn how to approach conversations in a way, and also to be more attentive to stuff and to be more engaging with others. Something that really touched me that said the professor was that however I am paying a lot for college, I might as well take advantage of it because well, I mean, we are not paying for nothing, and we usually are on our phones like all the time and don't take the time to talk to others around us, which is something that we should take advantage of because our life is not on our phones. And yes, I just want to say that. Thank you. And yeah, that is